we preempt this episode of the DC TV Report to let you know that it sounds like a mess.
I hear the audio sucks.
Little birdie told us.
Yeah.
You might be wondering who we are. I don't know if we should even tell them. Should we tell them who we are?
Well, I think everybody knows who it is.
There's some people.
But,
people. We can't be guaranteed, you know?
Just a fair warning. You got a great show ahead of you.
It's
just
amazing.
that the audio fucking sucks.
Whoa, take it easy. Dial it down. This is a family-friendly show.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez Louise. So, my name's Bill. This is Jay. We're from the Wicked Theory podcast.
Uncle Jay.
Uncle Jay.
That's right.
Not maybe your uncle, but he's everybody's uncle.
I'm everybody's uncle.
Remember that. Remember that. We know Ed and Sara very well. We're friends of theirs.
Great people.
And they asked us to come in here and just let you know that, the audio on this week, well, not all of it, but Ed's half. And,
whatever Ed worked on.
Yeah. the Ed O'Hare portion of this episode.
We're not pointing fingers.
No, but we just want to give you the heads up. And we apologize, and it is a thing that we can keep from happening in the future. I think we will. And as executive vice principal of production or something title like that I was given.
I think it might be the shock that he actually saw a DC film that he really, really enjoyed.
That's
just got the fucking better of it.
I see. It's like a very Don Knotts kind of moment where it's like, oh boy.
Did you see? I said, excuse my language.
Yeah, but you cursed like a truck driver in a traffic jam.
I said two F words.
I said two.
I will not say anymore.
France and Fargo.
And fun.
There's a lot of that to come.
Yes.
In this episode of the DC TV Report.
Nah.
All right, that's enough.
Gear up, guys. Have a good time.
Hugs and kisses, kids.
To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV Report for the week ending Saturday, November 18th, 2017. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara and Ed, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we've got 6 new episodes to talk about this week. Very exciting. But before we do that, we probably need to get into some of the news making its way around the Arrowverse this week.
There's one serious bit of news that we do need to touch on that is kind of sad. Andrew Kreisberg, who is one of the showrunners on Supergirl and Flash, and it was also heavily involved in the development of Legends and Arrow, has been suspended by the CW for an ongoing investigation into his misconduct, sexual harassment and misconduct.
Yeah, apparently 19 people came forward in a Variety story and talked about harassment and inappropriate physical contact. And, and I've read a lot about the harassment claims that are coming out against powerful, mostly men, all over the place since the Harvey Weinstein thing kind of changed our national mood for this kind of conversation. And I gotta say, this story was awful. I mean, harassment isn't good, but this one just felt unusually terrible. I don't really want to dwell on the details, but the quotes from the Variety article, people who work for him, the workplace feels unsafe. He scares people. I think it was a male writer who witnessed it all, said that the sexual harassment was so constant. It was like white noise in the background on all of these shows. And what I think is troubling a lot of people is this news broke on Sunday, and I think it was on Monday that he was suspended, and we haven't heard anything really since then, just that the Warner Brothers TV group investigation is ongoing. Although the Variety article alleges that a high-level female producer did bring concerns about this harassment to someone pretty high up in the Berlanti Productions last year, but nothing happened. And it sort of took this increased awareness and sensitivity to these issues to finally get them to do something. So that is it's not a great look for Berlanti, for the shows, certainly for Andrew Kreisberg. And so that's just kind of where we are. Is there's an investigation ongoing, and we're waiting. We're waiting to hear what happens.
Yeah. This is very sad. I mean, it's an ongoing.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Ed, but none of the allegations have made me feel good, but this is the first one that really hit at entertainment that I love. And so that made me feel extra sick. I feel kind of not complicit, but I watch and enjoy these shows, and it sounds like people really were having a terrible time behind the scenes, and that makes me feel pretty bad.
Yeah, I think a lot of this kind of shows. To me, it's just kind of a shame, really, that someone who's clearly talented can't get out of their own way, and I mean, with this, the same thing that you hear with Kevin Spacey and lots of actors and high level producers and stuff that. It's something that has been prevalent for a long time, and just people are only now feeling comfortable talking about it.
And when you think about the climate it must have been like, with people either too afraid to speak up or tacitly allowing it to happen or encouraging it and laughing along, and it's pretty gross and upsetting. But I do hope this leads to a change and more sensitivity, and more women emboldened to speak up and more men emboldened to say, hey man, knock it off. That's important. But one thing that I thought was interesting that did come out of it was a lot of the actors and actresses on the CW DC shows made public comments condemning harassment, applauding people for speaking up. You had Emily Bett Rickards, you had Melissa Benoist, Katie Lotz, Candace Patton all spoke up. And then I know Shyler Lee and David Harwood kind of said, you go girl, as they were doing that. Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin both made statements in support of the women who came forward. So it was, and Chris Wood also, it was nice to see that kind of solidarity. And I mean, I know they're the faces of their shows, but it's still brave. That's still taking on your bosses really publicly. So I applauded them. I thought all of their statements were well crafted and thoughtful, and good for them.
Yeah, I agree as well. I especially I read Melissa Benoist's statement when she put it out, and I think that was something that needed to be said.
It didn't surprise me for a second, because she's always been a little bit on the #resist side of things. I know she participated in the Women's March with kind of an amazing sign. Y'all look it up. It was great. So
yeah, also Supergirl, especially, it's a show about empowerment. And
it's a show that noticeably has, look, it does take shots at the Trump administration, and it does sort of embrace that kind of liberal sentiment in a way that makes some viewers crazy, I know. But yeah, it is about women, female empowerment and women. And I would have been disappointed, honestly, if she hadn't said something, especially her. And that's not fair. She's not her character, but she does kind of represent that in the media and for a lot of people who watch her show. So I was especially pleased by that.
Yeah.
You go, Melissa.
Yeah. And, I think we do cover these shows, so I think it would be unfair of us not to mention that this is going on. But, I think, we got that out of the way, and we had some great episodes this week. And I think, I think, it'd be, if there is any further news, we will cover that. But we're here to have fun and talk about DC TV.
Yeah, I know. I am curious how much transparency we'll see from Warner Brothers as they do this investigation. Are they ever going to conclude it? Are we going to, people are really waiting to see how they handle it. And I think what they do is going to set the tone for those shows moving forward, and possibly for other claims, because we've seen other claims have come out against, for example, the One Tree Hill showrunner who's now on the Royals. And I think how we handle this bag of dicks might indicate how we're going to handle others. Innocent until proven guilty and all that. But that was a well-researched story there, and it's pretty gross. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. We are here to have fun and not call people bags of dicks, unless they really deserve it in the shows.
You ready to start Lucifer?
Oh my God! Please, let's start Lucifer.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna kick off this recap. It's season 3, episode 7, Off the Record. Reese Getty, a reporter, learned Lucifer was sleeping with his soon-to-be ex-wife and began investigating him. Reese shadowed Chloe and Lucy while they tracked a serial killer targeting high-profile hypocrites. Last-minute reveal: Reese woke up in a hospital room ready for a second chance, but we were shown that this is actually his personal room in hell.
Okay. On Twitter, I promised that my entire contribution to this portion of the podcast was going to be me just saying, this was so good. But this was so good. Ah!
Patrick Fabian guest starred this week as Reese, and it was quite impressive. And this episode goes back to the very beginning of the show. It starts in season 1.
But it doesn't make it obvious necessarily. It sort of peels back clue after clue for you. Because as I was watching it, the first comment to give you an indication that this isn't set in the present was, I started consulting with the police a couple weeks ago. And it actually made me say, how much time has passed on this show? Surely it's been more than that. And then you get Lucifer sleeping with Dr. Linda. Wait, he's not still sleeping with her, right? Mm-hmm. And so by the time you get to the time jump 1 year later, okay, that makes sense. So even that structure was a little layered in mystery and kind of fun. And, Lucifer's got his demon face. Well, that's not right. So just, I liked that it kind of kept you off kilter a little bit with all of the kind of disorienting timeline before you finally ground yourself with the 1 year later.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, when Reese saw Lucifer's true face, I thought that reaction in that moment was incredible.
Oh, Patrick Fabian was so good at everything. He was, that reaction was amazing. This almost helpless self-destruction. He couldn't help but do everything he did, which just chipped away at his goodness and his humanity. And you felt bad for him, even as he's doing these horrible things. Oh man. So good. It was so good. Honestly, I think this was my favorite Lucifer episode ever, which is funny because, Reese is in 70% of the scenes. Lucifer isn't even a supporting character. He's barely on there at all. So good.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing where, even though he's not on screen, the whole episode's about him.
Yep. And I love that his vanity doesn't let him see that he's the trash bag guy that Reese's ex is sleeping with. Just all the way through, he just doesn't even occur to him that he could be the loser that Reese is describing. And that's so Lucifer, and it's so perfectly Lucifer. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. I was really, really happy with this. We got to learn more about Dr. Linda too.
Yeah, great little showcase for Dr. Linda. Did you love how you saw that character evolution every time we check in with her, how she's changed and how she's grown and how her relationship with Lucifer has grown?
Yes. Yeah, that she's very different at the beginning. She thinks she's just having fun, and then she's helping him. And also kind of just her relationship with Reese, and how she's coming to terms with it. Where she doesn't want him to be a part of it, but that she's still, over time she has to admit to herself that she does care about Reese. Mm-hmm. And I think this was it's funny. There's not much more to say about this other than that it's a well-crafted story arc. It's executed perfectly.
Did you call that he was stuck in a hell loop? Did you have that figured out?
No. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know if this. I feel like this really happened. If you ask me what would be his personal hell loop, by the end, I'm sure this would be it. But I thought that was a great reveal. I actually thought it was really scary and chilling. That reveal Lucifer gives is that if you're trapped in hell, you can walk out at any time, but no one ever does because it's their guilt that keeps them
we do it to ourselves. And that was an interesting reveal about hell, that Lucifer doesn't send people, people send themselves. So it's just another layer of mythology on this show. I had a couple other thoughts before we move on, because you're right, it's so perfect. I don't think we need to beat this horse. You should watch it. In fact, it's almost a good introduction to the show. If somebody hasn't watched Lucifer, it's such a different take. It's such a different narrative approach, but it still is just a great introduction to the world and the characters in little snapshots. But number one, Ed, were you glad to see Dr. Phlox?
Yes, John Billingsley.
I love him so much. I wanted more of him. I was sad that his role in the Lucifer verse is so small, because he's such a great actor.
Yes, yeah, and he is Alvin, who ends up being the killer in this episode. And it's funny how with Lucifer the procedural is always kind of like a backdrop. It's like, oh yeah, we're solving a crime this week. But I also think it was interesting to see Reese stoop down that low. He's the serial killer on Lucifer, and the way it backfires on him. But yeah, John Billingsley was great. And that guy needs to work more.
He does need to work more. Get him on a show, like full time. I thought the Reese's Wall of Weird, which is not the first time in this episode or not the last time in this episode you're going to hear that, but Reese's Wall of Weird was great. That's what DVRs were made for, to pause and read some of the comments. They were funny, they were interesting, but his research was so good. It made me wonder, at the end of Mr. and Mrs. Mazikeen Smith, when we see that filing cabinet full of research, obviously it can't be, I'm not sure how the timelines line up. I think that Reese's death actually is happening immediately now, and actually the next episode is going to deal with some of that aftermath for Dr. Linda. So I don't think his research could be in that filing cabinet, but it felt like it could be, even identifying Amenadiel as Dr. Kanan on his research and on that filing cabinet. So I don't think it's the same thing, but for a second I was like, did the Cinderman steal Reese's research and just shortcut all that? But the other thing I wanted to point out, first of all, no senior investigative reporter understands the website's commenting system for the newspaper website. That is literally the last person in the newsroom who would understand that. No, sir.
Oh yeah, I was yeah, that's right. That's right.
Could you help us find these comments? No, he cannot. I promise you, I've met investigative reporters at newspapers. No, they can't. That is so far beneath them. No.
Could anyone at that newspaper figure that out?
There is going to be one tech guy who could do it, and maybe like one of the millennial interns possibly could give an assist. That is it. Everybody else is like, I fear it. It's change. I'm sorry. I spent some time in newsrooms. Journalists are lovely people.
Because I will say that is my local newspaper. The comment section on their website is vile and racist. And,
of course it is. It's the comment section.
And it's like the one thing I like. No. Like Sarah, you don't understand.
Wait. Like on a scale from AV Club commentators who are smart, erudite, and lovely to YouTube commenters who are human garbage, where does it fall?
Oh no. This is worse. This is worse because this these are people who will take some event that's going on at the local shopping mall and turn it into a liberal conspiracy
Benghazi
to overthrow Trump. As I said, it is racist and vile, and I don't understand why it exists.
Never read the comments.
No. But the other thing is, it's like the only forum I could see that's still anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Where no one, you don't link your name, you don't link it to your Facebook. People are just like, oh.
That makes a big difference. This journalism lecture part 2. That makes a big difference. If you make people sign up with their names, it does force civility, or forces people to admit, I have no shame and I'm going to say these things linked to my real name. So papers ought to adopt some kind of verification system, but that's neither here nor there. The other 2 things I wanted to point out was the quote, I heard he was from somewhere terrible down south. Maybe Florida? And Off the Record was one of the 4 season 2 episodes that were shifted to this season. And I have loved all three that we've seen. Vegas with Some Radish is one of them, and Mr. and Mrs. Mazikeen Smith is the other. If I'm reading the production notes properly, Vegas with Some Radish was supposed to be the finale, the season 2 finale, which would have left things in an interesting way because it leaves drunk Chloe with Lucifer giving her that bullet necklace, and it kind of leaves an open possible note in their romantic relationship, and that would have been an interesting way to end season 2. And instead we got a really different feel with their relationship, I think, the way we did end season 2. But that I thought knowing that was supposed to be the finale kind of changes how this season 3 should have been set up, but then wasn't. So anyway, we have one more of those held back episodes to go, but I think that's going to be a little bit further down the road from what I'm reading, like 4 more episodes to go.
Yeah, I think that's going to be towards the end of December.
Yep.
But
in short, well done, Lucifer. Honestly, favorite episode of the show. I think when the show is all said and done, it's easily going to be in the top 5.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
Yeah, this was incredible. What news do we have this week?
Just one little piece of news. The showrunners have said that they're not against the idea of introducing God as an actual character in the show. The concern is Lucifer pushes and projects so much of his own personal baggage onto his father that to introduce him kind of takes away that opportunity. So it would have to be a fairly extraordinary storyline to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said they're dream casting for Lucifer's father. Brace yourselves. This is a roller coaster of suggestions. Number 1, Edward James Olmos. Solid. He's everybody's like dad / granddad. William Shatner. Or my personal favorite, oh my God, picture this, John Cleese. John Cleese as Lucifer. Dad, please, TV God, let this happen.
Yeah, those are very, very different. I mean, we already did sort of see God in the episode last season with Timothy Amundsen,
and he was a great God.
Yeah. It's turned out to be a false positive.
Don't they all?
Yeah. But I don't know if I'm ready for that. But it's interesting. I'm being a huge Trek fan. I dig the shot. That would be all of those. I mean, those would be 3 very different stories if you got each of those actors.
Yes, that's a really good point. The 3 different tones that the show would take with that. Because I respect you and don't want to tear apart our podcast relationship, I will keep my thoughts on the huge hunk of salted ham that is William Shatner.
Yeah, well, it's also like, to me, that would be when he was on Third Rock from the Sun as the big giant head.
Yeah, okay, that's true. To me, God feels like a final season thing. I don't know how you show God in this show and then keep going. Supernatural has done it. They showed God pretty, not early on, but like they're on season 36. So, they've kept going. Supernatural got away with it. I feel like Lucifer, that relationship is so personal and so fraught. It just, to me, that's a last season thing. So we'll see.
All right. Moving on.
Oh, and I should say, as always, I have recapped Lucifer on EW.com, so do check that out. I say very nice things about it.
All right. That's it for Lucifer. Moving on to Supergirl.
All right. Season 3, Episode 6, Midvale. Alex and Kara come home to Midvale to visit with Mom and decompress. 10 years ago, Kara and Alex bonded for the first time investigating the sudden death of one of their friends. Last minute reveal, after a round of hugs and a call from John, the girls drive home blasting Gwen Stefani.
I did have to look into your recap on EW.com to find out who was singing that song.
Why, thank you. I am all about my 90s girl pop, so... Actually, was that a 90s and aughts? Whatever. Okay, Ed, what did you like better about this episode? The spookily good casting of the young Kara and young Alex, or the old-time Superman shout-outs?
I like both. I do think the casting was great. And
so good.
Yeah, and I know it was a different actress playing Kara. Was it the same actress who played Alex in previous seasons?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. But no. But I thought, but I the references to Chloe, and the Wall of the Weird, throwbacks to Smallville. I thought that was interesting.
Well, and also, yeah, the Chloe Wall of Weird made my heart happy, but also Erica Durance, who used to be Lois Lane, playing an FBI agent named Noelle Neal, made my heart pitter pat, because Noelle Neal was the first big screen Lois Lane in the 40s and 50s, and I met her at Metropolis, Illinois has a Superman festival every year that I highly recommend. It is delightful if you're looking for kind of an off the beaten path kind of trip to take. But she used to show up to that all the time to sign autographs and be on panels and things. So I got to meet her before she passed away last year. And she was lovely. And she loved the Superman hype and the community and all of it. So that was really nice. That was a nice thing to do to honor her.
Oh. Yeah. And and that scene, you found out at the end of that scene that was actually John.
And my heart melted at the thought that John has been kind of looking over Kara and watching out for her, or Kara, and making sure she's on the path she needs to be on. So that was nice.
Yeah. And this was another murder mystery similar to Lucifer. This was like we're throwing back. This definitely had kind of a Smallville feel to it. In that,
for sure.
Yeah, because Midvale, it turns out it was the sheriff. Spoiler. We got to see young Kara, sort of in, I guess you would call this like puppy love, with Kenny Lee, kind of her first relationship, even though it didn't really turn into a relationship. And kind of where their heads were at, where they were kids. And I think this was a nice kind of way to step back from all the craziness that's been going on in National City. And I do like when these shows take an episode to take a break. And focus on a different type of story. I thought this was really cool.
Yeah, I really did too. I think it might have been done in part to allow those two actresses, the adult actresses, to film the crossover. The Arrowverse crossover. So this let the young actresses do the heavy lifting. But I adored the terrible relationship they had at first and how that changed and how that bond formed. And it was so, the sister thing has always been so integral to Supergirl, and to see when it was not as strong, and they were both at fault. Kara was a little snot as a teenager, and Alex had the 90s or the aughts choker and the moodiness, and perfect. They're not going to do this, but can you imagine a spinoff? The Adventures of Kara and Alex in Midvale in high school, solving crimes like Scooby-Doo. That would be so fun.
Yeah, this would be nice if they did this like once a season.
Yeah. That's I think much more likely, but I do think the fans really seem to like this, like the actresses, like the approach it took. So if they wanted to check in periodically with the adventures of the teen Danvers, that would be great. By the way, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but in the flashback, their mom was reading the book Cat Grant, 9 Lives and Counting. Funny. Also, I have to know, that was a nice house, a real nice house. How does it only have one bathroom?
I don't know. Maybe that's they only need one bathroom, or maybe not. Because the story demanded it.
Because the story demanded it. There you go.
I think did they build houses with 2 bathrooms before like 1970? Maybe it was an old.
No, by law you had one tiny bathroom.
Yeah.
And the bigger your family, the smaller the bathroom. Yeah. That's actually how it worked.
Yeah. You're lucky there's a tub and not just like a 3/4 shower.
All right. But no, another good episode. I liked that the drive there was sort of tense, and the drive back, we saw that Alex has gotten a little bit better when she says, I'm going to drive home. Before, it would have been okay if we got into an accident and died, but now I'd rather that not happen. So you kind of see that going home to Midvale was sort of healing. So I'll be curious if both of them are still mopey about their breakups moving forward. Probably with the crossover, not next week, but the week after, they're not going to have time to dwell on that. So this was a nice take a break, let the girls do their thing.
Yeah. Although, did you think it was a little convenient that she just took a nap, remembered that, and then woke up and everything was okay?
Oh yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. I mean, there is something about the healing power of home and mom, and mom cooking for you and whatever it is that your mom does personally to soothe you, that there is something to be said for that. But yeah, she was a little sunny in that final scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's all good. I'm assuming we're still going to get sad and the downside of the breakup, but yeah, it was a pretty quick bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand, again, for purposes of the plot, you kind of have to show that arc a little bit. So, yeah.
All right. News from Supergirl?
Just a little news. John will not be part of the crossover in 2 weeks. That's it. I'm disappointed. I always want more of him, so that's too bad.
All right. One quick thing. This is the one thing. I mean, Martian Manhunter for the first 35 years was the of the Justice League of America was the only character in every incarnation of the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I always thought was really cool was the mind control link, and that's how they communicate with each other. Instead of having headsets with microphones, they just talk through John's psychic link.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that another year is going to go by where we have a crossover and we won't see that in live action is I don't know, it's a little disappointing.
Aw. Well.
Just saying.
Get it together, Arrowverse.
Get it together.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. But if you do see that, Miss Martian does it in Young Justice. So you'll understand what I'm talking about there. But all right, cool. So that's Supergirl. On to Flash. Season 4, episode 6. When Harry met Harry. Barry tried breaking in Ralph by going after a bus meta named Black Bison, who was killing people to steal Sioux Indian artifacts. Harry convened a council of Wells from other Earths to help discover the Thinker's identity. Last minute reveal, the council tracked down Clifford DeVoe. But when Barry and company were ready to capture him, they found a guy in a wheelchair.
Honestly, I completely forgot about the meta of the week because all that remains in my memory of this episode is the Council of Wells.
Yeah. This was this was I mean, Black Bison was an interesting villain, but not necessarily a memorable one. Ralph had the ugliest costume.
So why would they make it that color?
That was like it wouldn't even the original elongated man had a white and purple motif. They didn't even go with that. That was Cisco was really, really lazy this week. I don't understand.
That was real passive aggressive, I think. That was Cisco punishing him. I did like the Ralph Dibney, the evolution of Ralph Dibney. Again, kind of like we talked about with Supergirl just now, but it happened kind of fast. I don't care about that. I'm gonna catch the bad guy. And then by the end of it, he's making balloon animal Dibney parts for a little girl in a hospital. It was fast, but that's okay. You got to get him into a hero, right? You got to start that process.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy Barry teaching him how to hero. I liked Barry's frustration, and it was those two together I'm really enjoying. I like the antagonism. I like the friction Ralph brings.
Yeah. And he did learn this week,
Yeah.
There was a lot going on there. I do think that the scenes, it seems like they're trying to hint a Ralph Caitlin romance, but in a very weird, awkward way.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, there was this extended scene, which I wasn't sure if it was part of the show or a commercial, that happened towards the end, where it was just like he was walking and asking her about something, and I don't know, that was just strange for me.
Agreed, especially in light of the news we reported a couple weeks ago. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say especially, that Sue is endgame for him. But God knows every show has people dating other people before finding
Well, also
one true love. So I'm not
yeah.
saying it has to be forever.
Yeah, and Sue's the endgame, but we don't know if she shows up until next season. So
yeah. But Caitlyn's had such bad luck. I'd like to see. Can we not get Caitlyn a good love interest who stays alive, please?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a character. Like, I don't know. It feels like they're running their course with her. I don't know. Maybe she needs to move over to Legends or something like that.
Well, because Iris has kind of taken over control of the Star Labs Flash team, and I feel like Caitlyn has less to do somehow. And I've complained about this before. Somehow Iris is the one figuring out what to do in this room full of literal multi-PhDs, which okay, fine. Iris has to have something to do. But it has made Caitlyn less essential. Cisco is the superhero name maker and the costume creator and the tech guy, but Caitlyn, what's she doing now?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I thought at the end of last season that she was gonna go off and do her own thing, and we weren't gonna see from her for a while. That she was back in the premiere. Oh, okay. I guess she's the return.
Ed's response. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's bring back Ronnie Raymond and have Killer Frost go for Legends, and try to work with them for a while. Maybe she replaces Snart, because they do have similar power sets. But
that's true.
Yeah, but that's that.
Okay, have we put off talking about the Welleses long enough?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We only got 3 of them.
Well, 4 if you count that brief appearance. So which one was your favorite? Sprockets, McConaughey, or Good Abs Mad Max? I literally can't choose. They were all so good.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird. I guess McConaughey. Although that was yeah. This
I'm going Sprockets. I liked Sprockets.
You like Sprockets? Yeah. What is that a reference to? That's a reference to something.
SNL old Mike Myers sketch. Sprockets.
Okay, Sprockets make me feel good. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, this has been brought to you by the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, this was a chance to show Tom Cavanaugh's range. I wasn't as into these scenes.
I'm sorry, when did all the joy leave your heart?
No, they were funny, but I got a little tired of it after a while. I think it felt like a joke that they were dragging out.
I mean, I can see that. I enjoy Tom Cavanaugh so much that I'm quite forgiving when they do things like this, but it did, like, we get it. We get their personalities. We understand.
Yeah. Also, like, when I heard in the news story that they're doing a Council of Wells, like, I thought that we were going to see a freaking assembly hall full of Tom Cavanaughs. I didn't realize that we were only going to be getting 3.
Yeah, I agree. I thought maybe it was is it the Council of Reeds?
Yeah.
Or a Council of Ricks, depending on whether you're, Marvel person or a Rick and Morty person. I thought it would be a little bit more formal because Wells he's so smart. You would assume that they would all assemble and like address interplanetary conflicts and things like that. So I was a little disappointed that it was as loosely organized as it was.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they're letting Tom Cavanaugh do some interesting things. And since we don't have a new Wells this season, since we have the old Wells, which is fine, it was kind of nice to see some. I also like the Gandalf the Grey Wells.
Yes, yeah. And Cisco's got to take him out more.
Yes, exactly.
Take him a mixer. Some kind of, I don't know, charity event. Get him laid. Like, yeah, that guy's gotta get. Yeah, he's got to get more sociable. Which I know is the point to all of this, but this is a weird way of showing it.
It was. Hey, by any chance, have you read the Harry Dresden books by Jim Butcher?
No, I have not.
It's a great urban fantasy series. There are tons of books in it. Don't let that dissuade you, because it's really good urban fantasy. But all I'll say is the rampaging T-Rex that Barry and Ralph have to face down this episode gave me a pleasant flashback to one of my favorite Harry Dresden books. So if there's anybody out there listening who knows what I'm talking about, book nerd high five.
All right. And cool. Was there anything yeah, and the Thinker was there.
Oh yeah, the Thinker. Yeah. He would be a terrible boss. I see you didn't rinse the coffee pot. Oh my god. I can't get anything past him.
Yeah, we found out he's a guy in a wheelchair, which I don't see why that's a problem. I don't.
Yeah, hello. Talk about like ableism. Just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't mean he can't wreck shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but all right. Yeah, we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Looks like a big Thinker episode next week.
Yeah.
You want to do news?
What news we have for Flash?
Two quick things. One is that Katie Sackhoff will return as Amunet on December 5th. Yay! So we will get to see her again. I'm very excited. You know, we didn't really talk about it that much. I was excited about her because I loved her on BSG. I think you liked her well enough in the episode she appeared in.
Yeah, she was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm thrilled. Yay. Okay. More Katie Sackhoff. Mm-hmm. And this one I thought was so interesting. TV Guide reports that in the season premiere, when Barry comes back, he's spouting gibberish. And in fact, some of those were lines from past and future episodes. So some of those were lines he said in the show's pilot. Mm-hmm. Others are things he has said so far this season after the premiere episode. And others probably we're going to see in the future. He talks about diapers at one point. So clearly Joe and Cecile having a baby, diapers. He has lots of talks about stars. Not Hollywood, but Astro stars. At one point, it sounds like he's talking to a judge and claiming his innocence, I think it was. He talks about Nora. So if that is the case, and the show built in callbacks, but also call forwards to what we're going to see this season in the Barry gibberish, because he has seen all of time and space, that's so cool. So I thought that was neat that TV Guide had that.
Yeah, talking to the judge, there's a famous storyline from the mid-'80s called The Trial of the Flash, which was one of the big things that happened right before Barry Allen died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So it'll be interesting to see if they throw back to that, if that's what they're talking to a judge is going to be about. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you anything about that, but go read that. Go read that if you want some classic Bronze Age Flash stories.
All right.
So yeah, a lot going on. Excited to see how that maps out. I did see I do remember some references to the pilot in that thing and some past stuff, but I'm sure they're throwing that out. I always wonder with these kinds of things, do they make up stuff and then have the episodes fill those in, or do they have the storyline plotted out and then throw in the references there?
I mean, I can answer that for other shows. Lost would just write things and then be like, "Ooh, I guess we have to address that." I don't know about The Flash.
Yeah. So, cool. And that's all the news, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right. On to Legends.
All right. Season 3, Episode 6, Helen Hunt. Helen of Troy showed up in 1937 Hollywood and stole Hedy Lamarr's star-making role. Ray botched an experiment and caused Jax and Dr. Stein to switch bodies. Damien Dark threatened to kill the Legends one by one if they didn't head back to 2017. Kuasa attacked the Wave Rider and revealed herself to be Amaya's granddaughter. Last minute reveal, Zari brought Helen back to 1253 BC, but instead of dumping her in Troy, left her on the coast of Themyscira. A lot happened in this episode.
Yes. And
including one of the greatest comic shout-outs of this season of television, as far as I'm concerned, and that we got to see the island of the Amazons.
Yes. Yeah. I guess 2 days before Justice League premieres, they gotta throw a bone out there. So there are Amazons in this world. So if we wanted to see Wonder Woman show up in the Arrowverse, she could. That's the first direct reference I think they've had to Themyscira.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I guess Jax and Dr. Stein had to do the freaky Friday.
I mean, with Victor Garber leaving the show, you have to get that in. I actually thought that the Jax as Stein was better than Stein as Jax, but maybe that's because Victor Garber is easier to imitate, and Jax is less so.
Yeah. Instead of sounding like Jefferson, Dr. Stein sounded like Bob Sweeney in the Theory podcast. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. He didn't sound anything like it. It was just, I'm gonna put on a New York Italian accent, and somehow this will sound like a black guy.
Yeah, it was an odd acting choice, but I would never criticize Victor Garber, who is flawless. But then it was I loved that they worked in. I mean, they didn't make it really explicit, but Hedy Lamarr's scientific background, working with the spread spectrum technology for torpedoes and things, that she had an important role to play beyond Starlet, and I like that they alluded to that. That was very cool.
Yes. And I thought Helen of Troy, that actress did live up to the legend.
I was thinking, they didn't show her face at first, and I was just like, how do you cast this? How, if you're that actress, like, okay, no pressure, but you have to be literally the most beautiful woman who has ever lived.
Yeah. And it's funny, they went straight up, oh, no, she just disables everything with a Y chromosome she encounters.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that it was only Y chromosome because, Sarah likes the ladies. And so I genuinely thought Sarah would fall for it too. But apparently it is based on, I guess, like you say, the Y as opposed to the pleasure receptors in your brain or whatever. So interesting the way Helen of Troy's powers work.
Yeah, well, also kind of like she's not in control of them. Like, is this really a thing, or is she just that gorgeous? We got Damien Dark. We really fleshed out the Amaya Kawasa relationship in here. Amaya finally learned that Kawasa is her granddaughter. And Ray explained his relationship to Mari, the modern day Vixen. Amaya got to learn a little bit more about that, and I think this is the kind of thing. Up until this episode, you kind of had to watch the Vixen animated series to understand what was going on, and I'm glad that they finally filled the viewers in on that storyline.
Yeah, because for me, as someone who hasn't seen the animated series, it is a little confusing who is what and in what timeline and who's good and who's bad. So that really did help. I very much enjoyed Cecil B. DeMille noticing that Ray is the perfect human specimen. Thank you, Cecil B. DeMille, for your good taste in saying, I want to make you a star. Not enough people acknowledge the perfection of Brandon Routh / Ray. But about Damien Dark, why would you ever agree to using no magic in a duel? I mean, why would you do that? No, I'm not going to agree to that. If we're fighting, I'm using magic. That's how it goes. I have magic.
Well, they're both trained by the League of Assassins. Them's the rules. And he did cheat at the end anyway.
I mean, of course. I mean, it's Damien Dark. Of course he did. And we also got the reveal that the woman he's traveling with is his daughter, which I think I spoiled for people last week because when they announced the casting, they said he was her daughter. I didn't know it was going to be a big, she is my daughter, dun, 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 but it was. So if anybody was disappointed that I told you last week, sorry.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, I think that's their fault for making it so confusing.
Yeah.
It's like, who was that person?
Not a very great mystery as far as I'm concerned, even if they hadn't announced it in the casting. I guess it was mildly, his daughter. Okay. But I like what Kelly Ford is bringing to the show. I like her as an actress, and I'm enjoying, what she's bringing. Victor Garber got to be the fireman. I enjoyed that. I'm sorry, Firestorm, not the fireman, but he got to be the man on fire in Firestorm as opposed to Jack. So that
Yeah, though that special effect was weird.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't good. No.
No, that did not look good, and I realized that's why they don't show him as often.
Yeah, he's expensive to do, and that's probably why they're okay breaking up the band if they're going to. And just like we complained in The Flash about ableism, this felt a little bit like ageism when he's Firestorm and he's like, I am an old man. Listen, dude, you're a meta-powered creature. Don't complain about being an old man. Just be a man on fire and own that. So I didn't like the I'm decrepit thing that they kind of had going with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe I was just feeling cranky. Also, I'm going to keep referencing stuff from the 90s, apparently, but I cannot hear Helen of Troy without thinking about The Simpsons and Troy McClure.
I am Troy
selling
McClure.
His cologne. And try my cologne, smelling of Troy. That's what I always think of, smelling of Troy. So there you go. May Phil Hartman rest in peace. I miss him. Think what he would be doing today. Think about all the comedy we lost.
It's sad. It's really sad. Really sad. You ever see Small Soldiers?
No.
He plays the neighbor in that and has one of my favorite lines of all time. I think World War II is my favorite war.
Now, for me, my favorite Phil Hartman is in So I Married an Axe Murderer. My name is Jack Johnson, but folks around here call me Vicky.
When do we see again?
I think what you're looking for is anyway. A couple of things here. EP Phil Klemmer on Twitter talked about the possible return of Mari/Vixen and said it didn't look super likely, but, quote, we might see her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Now, there are two ways you can take that. If you mean her as in Mari, in the comics, apparently she has kind of a thing going with Jon Stewart / Green Lantern. So we could see a lantern. Or if you're talking about the actress, Megalyn Echikunwoke, it could be her boyfriend, who is Chris Rock. Ooh. So her boyfriend could be a couple of things. I personally am holding out hope that Chris Rock will play Jon Stewart, the Green Lantern.
Could be. Fun.
But that's all, Twitter speculation.
Fun fact, in the 90s never made Tim Burton Superman movie, Chris Rock was cast as Jimmy Olsen.
Okay, what?
You didn't know this?
No. Is this the
Yeah, this was the one
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, the Nicolas Cage Superman movie. Go check out John Schnepp's documentary, What Happened? The Death of Superman Lives. And Kevin Smith tells a story about being on the set of Dogma, and Chris Rock showed up and saying, "Guess who's playing Jimmy Olsen?" He was cast. Would have been weird. But actually that fits right in with the Arrowverse now. I could definitely see him playing James Olsen's dad.
Okay, a second piece of news. IBI Times says that Sarah is getting a new love interest, which pleases Katie Leutz, who plays Sarah. She said she'd like a real love interest as opposed to the kind of hookups she's been having. The producers say, it's kind of hard to do that when she's a time-traveling spaceship dweller to find a love interest who can stick around. And I will love the producers forever for saying also, how do you find a love interest who can equal Sarah, who is so smart and fierce and a good fighter and loyal and just all these amazing things, because I love Sarah Lance. So they're trying to find somebody worthy of her, but also able to kind of live with her lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, season 2 of Arrow. There's that. Just saying.
Yeah. And Ed, when we talked about this off air, you had mentioned Agent Sharp, and it seemed like maybe she was being positioned for the enemies to lovers trope, which personally is a favorite of mine. And she's somebody who could hang with the time travel and the spaceships and things like that. So that could be what they're referring to, but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, definitely. I thought that was already happening. I thought that was, but evidently that's just fan speculation. So we'll see. we'll see.
All right.
Move
on to Gotham.
Gotham, season 4, episode 9, A Dark Night. Let them eat pie. Jim started his new job as captain and tracked Professor Pig in a scheme to cook homeless people and feed them to Gotham's elite. Oswald became suspicious of Sophia and asked Martine to spy on her. Alfred took a hungover and depressed Bruce camping and talked about meeting Bruce's dad. Last minute reveal, Martine snitched to Oswald about Sophia and Jim kissing, and Pengy was not happy.
Oh, he was not happy. Yeah. So this season of Gotham kind of feels like horrific camp, doesn't it? Because it's kind of campy, over the top, that fun kind of throwbacky Gotham Batman vibe, but it's also really kind of horrifying at times.
Yeah, it is very, very dark.
Yeah, dark camp, which I guess is maybe just Tim Burton. It's just a Tim Burton aesthetic.
Yeah, but I don't think that's doing it justice, because there's no curly cues. Well, there are curly cues.
Well, and also there's no Helena Bonham Carter. Is it Tim Burton if there's no Helena Bonham Carter?
Yeah.
No.
I've always thought that, like, Gotham, I always thought could slip into being a prequel to Tim Burton's first 2 Batman movies.
Aesthetically, you're right. I hadn't thought about that, but aesthetically, that really kind of fits.
But
although it can't be a prequel because they mentioned exploding penguins. Was that Gotham? No, that was Justice League.
Oh! Yeah.
Wait for the other podcast.
Yeah. That's right. We're gonna be dropping
I saw too many Alfreds and Bruces this week.
Yeah, we're gonna be dropping a special mini episode review of Justice League. So don't worry, we will get to it, but not yet.
Not here.
But yeah, and Michael Cerveris was awesome as always. Martine, that kid got even creepier.
Yeah, silent little kids, creepy.
And Oswald flipped straight up, shoving a knife into down the top of a guy's head.
Wouldn't that take a lot of strength?
Yes, it would.
I mean, I've never shoved a knife through a human being's skull, but I feel like that's not easy to do.
Yeah, no. It's just kind of like you can't think about it. You gotta just it's all like momentum, angular. Like you gotta like throw your hand up way high and just come straight down. Yeah.
This has been Murder Advice with Ed O'Hare. So can I be slightly critical of this episode? As fun as it was to see Professor Pig do his thing, as gross as the dinner scene was and all that, did it move the needle on the narrative all that far this week? Pig is in custody. Penguin now totally distrusts Sophia. I just feel like that was not much of an advancement for a whole hour of TV. It felt a little more placeholdery and kind of playing around with the characters we already have without a lot of forward motion. Am I being too critical?
Well, I mean, from a story standpoint, we didn't move that far forward, but it did solidify everyone's position, I think. Jim settled into his role as captain. Harvey stepped aside and learned that he may never be coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Penguin learned about Sophia's betrayal, and he definitely does not trust her now. And he also put her in a pickle because Sophia promised him that Jim would be fired, although after capturing the pig, I don't see how that can happen now.
Agreed. And by the way, I did like that fight they had on the tabletop, the pig Jim table fight. Yeah, it was good. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy many elements of this episode. That was real good.
yeah. To me, but to me, this wasn't so much about moving the narrative forward. Although, it did close the loop on Pig. I think that, this may be the last we see of him for the rest of the season, unless they decide to have him break.
Oh, he's gonna break out of Arkham. Come on.
Yeah, or if he hooks up a Scarecrow in there, that's.
Ooh. Yeah, we haven't seen Scarecrow in a while. Huh.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be a bigger part of the season. He may be. We just, it's just by.
It could be later in the season. Gotham has a lot of balls in the air this season.
Yeah. Also, the last couple of episodes focused a lot more on on Ed and Grundy and the Sirens. So, and they weren't in this episode at all. Plus, I think, Bruce, you also had the Bruce storyline.
Bruce. Watching him treat Alfred like a butler breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I understand it. They've earned this angst. I get it. I'm glad they're doing it, but it doesn't make it any easier to watch.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't punch out Tommy Elliott. That's what was gonna happen. Yeah. And it also kind of like, it shows that he does have that wild side that, and also it is him making friends. It's funny. It's like, that's how he deals with depression, by hanging out with people his own age. And that's kind of how he's self-medicating, that kind of thing. I did like learning. I love the story of Alfred talking about how he first met Thomas Wayne.
Oh yes, so much.
Yeah.
And then Bruce ditches him in the woods.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Yeah, Bruce is better than that.
Bruce, be better. But like I said, I do think, he killed somebody and he's struggling with that and he's got to come through that in order to be the Batman he becomes. So I'm really glad they're doing it. I think they've set it up really nicely. I'm pleased by all of this, but like I said, it's just awful to watch because Bruce he loves that boy like a son. It's
Yeah.
So Sophia,
okay.
She's playing Penguin. Mm-hmm. She's playing Jim, right?
Yeah, she's playing both of them.
So what is she? What is Sophia after?
Oh, she wants to take her father's place.
Is that what she wants? Okay.
Yeah, she wants to restore the Falcone name.
And she's doing it through orphans.
Yes. Yes, and I think this is. It's weird because she's at a point now where she's playing both Oswald and Jim, and now neither of them trust her.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like she's going to have to betray both of them.
It's funny because when I watch, I always, she's betraying Penguin, and then she goes back to Jim and is like, that's what I'm doing to Penguin. And I feel like I'm inclined to believe her when she's talking to Jim. So I have to keep reminding myself, no, she's the femme fatale. She's betraying both of them. But I always, I don't know, for some reason when she's with Jim, I'm just like, those two can, nope, no, sir. Also, we've talked about Broadway before. Can we talk about Professor Pig's even more murdery version of the Cell Block Tango, which came out of nowhere, that he sang before the dinner party?
Meat Pie Tango.
Holy cow. The Meat Pie Tango. They started and I was like, oh, that sounds like, from Chicago. Holy cow, that is from Chicago. I was not expecting that. You never expect a man in a literal pig mask to bust out with a version of the murder song from Chicago. You just never expect that.
Yeah. I thought that was great. It shows his Broadway roots. Also, funny enough, he played Sweeney Todd on Broadway, and now he's serving meat. Serving pies to rich people.
I'm kind of sad they didn't adapt one of the Sweeney Todd songs.
Yeah, that probably would have been a little too on the nose. Also, Sondheim is so unique. I don't think that really adapts well into anything.
That's true. No.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who has had to perform some of his music in the past, and I say perform and not sing.
It's intricate. Yeah. The music and the lyrics both are complex and layered.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, and I don't know if we'll see Pig for a while. I guess he may show up next episode if they try to interrogate him or something. But
although who knows, with this we could just spend the entire episode next week with like Selena and Grundy, just the two of them. You just never know. I will say Gotham's doing a nice job. I don't tend to miss the people we don't see week after week because what they are showing is so interesting. So I didn't miss the Sirens. I didn't miss Lee. But next week, if we don't have Bruce and if we don't have Pig and Jim so much, that'll be fine too, because I'm probably going to really enjoy whatever Enigma thing is going on. So I'm liking the way they're balancing that.
Yeah, they're trying to do the Walking Dead thing. They're doing it much better than Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, that's a low bar. Sorry, Walking Dead fans.
But yeah. And what news do we have from Gotham this week?
Just one little piece of news, talking a little bit more about the recasting of Ivy. The showrunners said they did it because people have been like, why a third actress? They wanted to move from Ivy number 2's performance, which was kind of fun and zany, into a more self-possessed and scary Ivy. So that's why they have recast a third time.
Yeah, I don't buy it. That seems weird to me. I personally I don't know. Maybe let that actress act and try doing something else. But this is, I don't know. I still feel like that actress must have done something that made them not want to have her around anymore. I can't.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. I mean, she is an adult at this point. I understood going from little girl to adult, but that's an adult actress they had. And as you said, she's an actress. Let her try to act self-possessed and scary. And maybe I'm irritated because I really liked that actress. I liked number 2, Ivy. So I don't know. Show.
All right. So now last episode of this week, Arrow.
All right, season 6, episode 6, Promises Kept. 7 years ago, Slade woke up in a hospital, trained his son to be an assassin, and had visions of Shadow telling him to take revenge on Oliver. In the present, Slade and Oliver learned that Joseph/Kane was trying to emulate dear old dad by stealing drugs and poisoning a city. Diggle and Team Arrow tracked a drug operation called the Dragon, stealing 3D printers. Diggle started running out of steroids and turned to Lena for help. Last minute reveal, Diggle came clean with the team about the tremors and promised not to keep any more secrets. Thank God. I mean, I'm so relieved that the team knows. Oliver doesn't know, but the team knows. Lila knows. People know. Yeah. And I'm incredibly relieved that they didn't drag that out anymore.
Lila, I made a mistake.
Yeah. Lila, not Lena.
Yeah.
Ed writes these summaries. That was Ed.
Sorry.
Save your hate mail for him.
Sorry.
That's okay. I realized as I was saying it.
Yeah. I'm glad that she finally showed up this season.
Yes, me too. Especially with the Dinah John vibe is kind of, I mean, it's not flirty, but it is a lot of intensity and a lot of emotion. And it left some viewers saying, where's your wife, John? Where's your wife? And so we've seen her, and clearly that relationship is still strong, and they're disappointed in each other, but she's disappointed in him. But they're going to make it work. So I was pleased that they reinforced that, because there has been a little bit of head scratching about that intense Dinah John thing.
Yeah. And 3D printers,
3D printers capable of printing drones or apparently drugs. Okay.
Sure. All right.
The future.
Yeah. Something tells me if that was true, these things would be very much more popular. Or maybe not.
How did you like Dragon? Is he going to be a good big bad this season? One of the 18 big bads they have this season?
Yeah. I that actor who's playing Ricardo Diaz, Kirk Acevedo.
Kirk Acevedo, yeah.
Yeah, Richard Dragon. I've liked him in several things. I think he's a good actor, a good choice. You didn't really see much of him. And it was weird. The only real conversational scene was John being a junkie. But yeah, that could work. I mean, I know this actor has it in him. I just didn't really think we saw him showcase that well in this episode. We were just kind of seeing him. Yeah, he's desperate.
Agreed. He's drug kingpin. He's vaguely threatening. I did like him sizing up John and saying, "Boy, I wouldn't want to go up against you." Ironic foreshadowing. So I'm hoping that they can expand him. I gotta say, Josh Segarra as Adrian Chase / Prometheus was such a good villain last season. It's gonna be those are big shoes to fill because he was menacing and unpredictable, but charismatic, and the whole thing was so good. Yeah. So I hope that between Caden James and Richard Dragon and Vigilante / ex-partner, and I feel like we have some more. Well, Kane now, I guess, that somebody measures up to Prometheus.
Yeah. I'll be honest. This storyline, was when I was watching it the whole time, I'm thinking like, what's going on with Slade?
Yeah.
Because I thought that the Slade Oliver and Kane storyline was really interesting.
I have needed to shove my Oliver forgiving Slade just shows, I guess, personal growth and what a forgiving heart Oliver has. But I've had a little more trouble with that because Slade was such a bad dude. And I know the Mirakuru, I know. Hashtag not all Mirakuru users. But that for me has taken just a little bit of time to be like, okay, all right, he's a different guy. He wants to do better. And that has helped for me because Manu Bennett is so like menacing and just a charisma bomb. I like Manu Bennett and I like him in this role very much. But it still takes a little bit for me to be like, okay, Oliver is over it. Cool. All right, let's do this. So let's do this. Let's talk about about the Slade Wilson, the Wilson family drama.
Well, I think this also showed, an interesting character arc to show that, while he was under the Mirakuru, he wasn't just destroying himself. He did ruin his family. And kind of, that was the side of Slade that Joseph connected with, and now he's formed with the Jackals and brought on an Islander to kind of emulate that.
Although he did make a point of saying the first time he saw his dad be bad was killing that Chinese spy on the camping trip when he was young, and that was pre-Mirakuru. So yeah, he's modeled himself after Mirakuru monster Slade, but he's also modeled himself after that dad I love who I saw kill that dude in the woods that one time. So Slade's family drama runs even deeper, I think, than that, although the flashbacks were very cool.
Yeah, and this is another thing where, like, it feels like Slade's going to go away for a while, but, he's definitely going to come back.
Joe / Kane is 100% going to kidnap William, right?
Yeah.
Because Oliver said, remember, we promised our sons, and Kane's ears perk up like, ooh, sons? What now?
I almost feel like Kane would be a better big bad for this season. Do you think it's possible that maybe Diaz is working for Kane? Or do you think he's not that organized yet?
Oh, well, that's interesting. I mean, they made a point in the episode. By the way, I recapped this for EW as well. I was fill-in, so I feel like I have more of the details because I had to write about them. They said that Diaz, Richard Dragon, used to run with a different crew before he was serving his 2 life sentences that got commuted on a technicality. And his new crew is really organized, so it's probably not the folks he used to run with. So they did make a point of saying this is a better organized crime unit. So, I mean, maybe that could be interesting. But on the other hand, it could also be Tobias Church from last season was shaping up to be, I liked him. I thought he was a great villain, and he got taken out relatively early in the season. So I kind of don't expect all of these villains to make it to the end of the season. I could see Richard Dragon being killed a couple episodes in, kind of like a Tobias Church.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. Also, the news that Slade has another son he didn't know about.
Grant.
Soap opera drama.
Now, do you believe Kane actually killed him? No. I think he's still out there.
If you mention a hidden other son, that other son is alive and waiting to cause you emotional pain.
Isn't that a Chekhov rule?
Yeah. Mention a surprise son in the first act. You will see that surprise son in the third act.
Okay. All right.
Not as much Deathstroke fighting fun this week. I mean, nothing is ever going to compare to last week, I don't think. But there was still some. It was cool.
Yeah. It's still interesting. And any news from Arrow?
Oh, I wasn't done talking. Hang on.
Go for it, man. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. No, it's okay. I just wanted to say that Dinah and John at the end agree that they're not going to have any more secrets now that his tremor is out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks away holding that box from her supposedly dead, now meta lover. Like, come on, man. Does somebody on Team Arrow always have to have that secret that they really should tell everybody else? Is it just a requirement to be on that stupid team? Ugh. So we'll see how long she keeps this secret when she really should be saying to the team, okay, so here's the deal.
It's her turn.
And it's her turn. Her turn to carry that secret torch, my stupid for no reason secret torch. And I just wanted to say, Felicity was adorable this week. They're turning into a little family. She was waiting for Oliver when he got home, and it was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right, news for this week. Just one little thing. TV Line is reporting that Diggle's drug storyline will have a tragic end.
Oh, that's right. We haven't seen him go through the DTs yet. So.
Yep. And I don't know what that necessarily means and what's going to happen, but at least everybody knows about it. Also, it's going to cause a bit of a confrontation with Oliver. And I believe the article said, not the kind of screaming confrontation. I bet you're going to get Oliver's best. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. So we'll see. But Oliver doesn't know yet. Neither does Felicity. But we'll see how and when that reveal comes.
Okay.
Looks like Oliver's going to have his hands full next week. So maybe not the best time to tell him about that next week when he is under arrest. But
all right. Cool. So if that's it for Arrow, I think it's time.
Yeah, I think it's time for news.
News from other shows. What do we got?
Okay, iZombie has a little bit of casting news. The actress who played young Kara on Supergirl this week and did a bang-up job, her name is Isabel Vidovic, and she has been cast as Isabel on iZombie. In the interview she gave to Monsters and Critics, she said she couldn't say anything about her character really without spoiling it, but she does spend a lot of time with Liv and Ravi. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because she's so young, she's got to be playing a high schooler, and my thought is some kind of shadow job program in the morgue, I guess, maybe.
Or maybe she just starts following them because she realizes that they know something.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, it could be she. Although Liv is going to be out of the closet as a zombie next season, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I mean, it could be that she's a witness to a crime or something like that. I don't know. But I'm pleased because I thought that actress was quite good. And although that does mean probably no Supergirl teen crime adventure spinoff right now, but that's good. So that's all I have for iZombie. Moving on to Krypton. This came out a couple weeks ago and we missed it, but there are a couple casting bits. Paula Malcolmson is going to play Charisse, the House L matriarch. Did I get that pronunciation right? Charisse?
Yes, you did.
And you will know Paula Malcolmson possibly from Deadwood, or she is in the Hunger Games movies. Mm-hmm. She's in Sons of Anarchy. She also was in the only Western I've ever loved, Tombstone. So she's very familiar. I'm looking forward to that because I think she brings a great deal to whatever roles she plays. Also, Blake Ritson has been cast to play Brainiac. I have no thoughts about Blake Ritson.
Okay.
He's got a lot of British stuff on his resume. And then Games Radar has a fairly large story about things you need to know about the Krypton TV show, which is sort of an overview of what the show is going to be all about.
Yeah.
So it follows Superman's grandfather. It looks like the House of L in the first episode is stripped of its rank and tossed into the rankless district, which is the roughest part of Kandor City. And they have to, I guess, probably claw their way back into respectability. But he's going to have some rougher edges. He's going to have a romance with someone from the Zod family. So kind of star-crossed because he comes from, I guess, high class and she comes from whatever class Zod is in.
The warrior class.
And okay, thank you. And Krypton, they're going to use Krypton to tell some sort of contemporary stories to comment on, it says, issues of race, reproductive rights, violence, government, theocracy. But it's going to be able to do it on a different planet. And so it's going to be a little more allegorical. And we are going to see some familiar faces like Adam Strange and Hawkwoman. So that's kind of an overview of Krypton, which, as a reminder, is going to be appearing on Sci-Fi.
All right, yeah.
But I don't know when. Do you remember what the release date is?
2018. There is no set release date.
I hate that vague 2018. That could be 2 months away, or that could be 14 months away.
Yeah, my guess is they're going to be shooting for something like a mid-season replacement of this.
Yeah, that would make sense. Well, and it makes sense. There's a lot more programming on in the summer, but it'd be kind of nice if you had something that kind of overlapped that end of May into the summer when you have a little bit more of a drought. So,
yeah, it's funny. Like, Sci-Fi has a tendency to premiere stuff in December, so I'm surprised that it wasn't coming there. But I guess that's booked up now with Magicians.
Yeah. Sci-Fi actually does a pretty good job of when one show ends, they have another one ready to go. They don't have a lot of programming, but when they do, it tends to run pretty consistently, and I tend to like their stuff. So I have high hopes. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Black Lightning.
The CW
has released its 2018 schedule. Speaking of 2018 schedules, and Black Lightning is going to premiere on Tuesday, January 16th, and it will be taking the place of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. They haven't announced when Legends will be back on the schedule, but presumably, Ed, you had made this comment when we were discussing it before, that presumably maybe it'll come back with iZombie, and those two will run together. Maybe.
Yeah. Although iZombie didn't come back till like April last year, so
yeah.
So
that doesn't feel. Yeah, you're right. Legends probably has. I assume Legends is the usual 20 whatever episode season. Where
no. See, let me just see. Yeah. I think Legends has got an 18 episode order, so it's a little.
Oh,
shorter.
Okay. So it could take a little bit of a break, and
Yeah. So it'll probably give like Black Lightning like a month to move in. I don't know if they'll move it to a different night, or maybe it's just gonna hang out, because iZombie last year ran in the Legends spot for like the last 8 weeks of the season. I think it only had like 3 or 4 weeks alone to itself.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's right. It did end a little earlier than the other shows, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Well, and I'm pleased that Black Lightning's going to have the Flash lead in, which is smart. Because that's a popular show. So hopefully the audience will stick around and check out Black Lightning.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Titans.
Titans.
Apparently, Jeff Johns on Twitter suggested that we might see Doom Patrol play a role on Titans.
Hang on a second.
So you're going to have to educate me, sir. What is Doom Patrol?
Okay. Doom Patrol was originally, in the 60s, DC Comics' answer to the X-Men. They were a group of teenagers who all had mutant powers, and they were organized by this one older smart guy. They have they're very obscure characters. They kind of fallen off. There was a resurgence in, I think, the early to mid 90s when Grant Morrison did a run on them that I think was eventually part of Vertigo. There's a series that's coming out right now under DC's Young Animal imprint. They're very odd, very quirky, strange characters. And if Teen Titans is going to be going, they're basically like, on paper they seem similar to Teen Titans, but they go for much stranger kind of X-Files sci-fi type storylines. Rather than traditional superhero fare.
Okay, all I heard was X-Files. I'm on board.
Yeah. So I don't know where this is going. If they're only going to appear in one episode, it's going to be like, oh, we're going to hang out with these weird guys for a while. Just weird. That's the best way I can explain Doom Patrol. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. So if that's how they decide to bring him out, like, I don't know what to what to think of this show. But that's interesting. Now, why do you say yay for Beast Boy?
Because the little that I read seemed to indicate that Beast Boy had kind of a connection to the Doom Patrol, that was sort of his story.
Yeah.
But that was just, I mean, and that's me with zero context, just reading, and this could come into play because Beast Boy was involved with them in this comic run. So,
okay.
But, yeah.
All right. So, sure.
Also, just in general, yay for Beast Boy. I mean, like, I shouldn't have to justify that. Yay for Beast Boy.
We're going to get Beast Boy.
So that's it for the news of the week.
All right, cool. So thanks for showing up. We had some good episodes this week. Be sure to
who's your winner?
Oh, that's right. We got the winners for the week. My winner is Reese Getty, played by Patrick Wilson. I think straight up, start off the week, I thought this is the best performance I've seen on any TV show, in a while. I think it was a solid performance and a great character. And I was waiting for the week for something to match it. I could have gone with some different themes, but his performance really took me aback, and really impressed me. And to me that was straight up. It couldn't be matched for the rest of the week. Your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to choose Lucifer as well. Just the whole episode was so amazing, and it rests entirely on Patrick Fabian's shoulders. But in the interest of not repeating you, I'm going to go with my runner-up. So we have, shake things up. I'm going to go Tom Cavanaugh, because while the Council of Wells may, for some people, Ed, have outstayed its welcome, it was so much fun. And Tom Cavanaugh clearly was having a blast playing Lothario McConaughey Wells, German white-haired, what is this Wells, and Mad Max half robot Wells. I enjoyed that very much. I like Tom Cavanaugh. I always want more Tom Cavanaugh on my screen, where Patrick Fabian had an amazing turn in Lucifer. Tom Cavanaugh had a very different acting range that he explored. So you went with the actual serious, actually could be guest star Emmy quality. I'm going with that. Looked like so much fun. So
yeah,
Patrick and Tom, winners of the week.
There we go. So yeah, and also be sure to check out. We are going to do a little mini episode review of the Justice League movie that premiered this week. Don't know how long that's going to be, but that's going to show up in the feed. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Keep your headphones in. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, we're going to keep going. All right, so I think that's the DC TV report for this week.
All right, so Ed, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
Also follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice. Rate and review us. It always helps. Check out our sister shows, Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam!
Shazam!